Welcome back, Namibia. Now, the Southern African Development Community Public Service Commission Forum General Assembly meeting, which actually commenced yesterday in the capital, has placed emphasis on effective recruitment standards, skills development, digital competencies, and also the finalisation of the forum's draft constitution. Now, the SADC Public Service Commission Forum General meeting, which will conclude tomorrow at Mercure Hotel, aims to promote collaboration through training exchange programs, e-recruitment, and also performance management systems. Joining us here this morning to reflect on the significance of this meeting, we are joined, that is, by the Chairperson of the Namibian Public Service Commission, that is Salmaan Jacobs, as well as the Chairperson of the South African Public Service Commission, that's Professor Somadoda Fikeni. Gentlemen, it is really good to have you in studio with us this morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome.
And good morning to Namibians.
Yeah. Professor, I must ask, before we get into the swing of things, is your first time in Namibia?
I was here in 1991 when we were assisting Namibia with the transition that was placed at the university. I was in Katutura, then stayed in Klein Windhoek, and I traveled from Caprivi to Ondangwa or Shakati and everywhere else. And since then, it's been one of my favorite spots coming back, especially Swakopmund, the coastal area.
Well, I think it's safe to say you've had quite the full experience, and you're always welcome, obviously. So that's happy. I mean,
it's my second home.
It's your second home. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. I think now let's get into Mr. Jacobs. Perhaps we can start with you. In terms of the primary objective of this year's SADC, Public Service Commission General Assembly meeting. What's the importance of it? Why is it so significant to our region, SADC?
I think Southern Africa is one of the regions that are very much organized. And this has been reported widely, that it is one of the regions that always try to ensure that there are systems, processes, and institutions in place. I think that has continued throughout many years, from the days when we were in the liberation struggle and even before. There has been always some kind of a collaboration or cooperation amongst members of this region. And I think following up on that, we as the Public Service Commission feel it is important for us to come together to share experiences, expertise, and also best practices for us to see how can the public services that we are rendering to our citizens be enhanced. What can we do together to learn from one another, to assist one another in areas where one country may not be, having expertise. How can another country help them to become a better, to be better in terms of service delivery, and also assist with capacity building of its public servants. And also nowadays, the talk of the town is digitalization. How can the digital tools be used throughout our recruitment processes and all of that? So we are trying to see how can we make sure that through this kind of collaboration, we will assist one another to provide better service to our citizens.
Thank you so much. Now, also pending finalization is the forum's draft constitution, Professor Fikeni. How will this strengthen, public administration across, that is, the region? At the same time, what are we waiting for so that we can finalize the constitution?
The first thing, we had to develop the concept and send it to our respective countries, consult our governments to say, is this an okay idea, supported, and into our various commissions. And once we agree, out of that, you develop the institutional arrangement in the form of a constitution, wherein it will say who will be in the executive, how long, what's the term of office, what's the membership, and so forth. So these are the final stages of that creation process, which started in Cape Town, and now it is being validated here in Namibia. And most important, South Africa and Namibia were at the forefront of this idea of starting the regional cooperation, and Zimbabwe has been very much instrumental in taking us through the SADC process of syncing with their systems, because they are the chair of SADC currently.
Let's talk about, I want to talk about measurable targets as well, and please feel free to just, are there measurable targets that are in place to track, the success of the reforms and the initiatives that are being discussed in the forum?
We are precisely in that stage, because remember, there is one creation of the forum, but each country is undergoing certain reforms. And now, because of the forum, we're comparing notes to say South Africa is undergoing professionalization and it has developed a framework. And you find that other countries, they are developing the e-recruitment system. Others already have an oversight in local government. And that in itself, I do think that gives us a platform to share notes and to say, no, we tried that one, it failed, don't go that route and so forth. So we are in that process of sharing notes in order to reinforce our country processes. And in order to also make sure that we share programs, softwares, and we don't repeat costly exercises which other countries have gone through.
Thank you so much, Professor. We're just going to head out for a quick break and then we will be back. Please stay with us, Namibia. We have a lot to discuss here this morning. Thank you so much for staying with us, Namibia. Now we are back and we continue. Mr. Jacobs, you did speak earlier about, digitalization. The world is leading and we are with them, I want to talk about digital competencies and also e-recruitment. It forms a very key theme, with this year's meeting. How ready would you say are SADC member states, for this transition to digital systems? But at the same time, if you may please, what challenges would you also say are being faced, by implementing these e-recruitment systems?
I think our countries are kind of on a different level in terms of digital transformation, in terms of the infrastructure that exists. Some countries are more advanced, where they have already adopted e-recruitment processes and also utilizing digital systems within different sectors. So some countries are still in the process of getting there. And therefore, this kind of collaboration that we have, we want to share knowledge, we want to share data and different digital systems through this collaborative system that we have, so that ultimately we will be able to know that if we are recruiting, the systems that we are using will also be aligned to all the regions, and there will be some kind of a similarity right throughout. Of course, there are challenges where, sometimes the rural areas are not covered. And that also creates a situation where, although you may come up with a system, it might do not reach all corners of the country. But that is also a process that needs to be looked at, and maybe a more digital infrastructure be created in those areas as well, for us to have a wider coverage for each and everyone to make use of digital transformation. Of course, there is also digital literacy gap, which is also another issue, where people that are in offices and HR offices and others are still to be trained within how to make use of these tools and so. But that is also another area. Of course, it is also important that more resources must be availed to this by the governments and by others in order to upgrade systems they have, and for them to align and ensure that more people make use of these systems. And how can we collaborate? Maybe one country is advanced, other one is not. How can we, without reinventing the wheel, kind of, maybe that country to avail facilities they have, for the other country to make use of it. And in that way, we can share expertise we have within the region. So those are some of the ways that we want to collaborate.
Thank you so much. Now, Professor, before we do run out of time, let's talk about this some proposed training and exchange programs. How will this be implemented and also monitored for impact?
We are approaching all potential donors and potential partners from United Nations Development Program, Chinese, Japanese, Canadians. We've already met with some of them, private sector players such as your financial institutions and so forth, to say public service is the engine that drives virtually everything in terms of service delivery. You may have good policies, but you won't implement them until you get those. So we're seeing some greater interest in those sponsors in funding the training of the regions rather than each country, given the scarcity of resources, and they want to have a greater footprint in that sense. So we've started that particular journey.
That's fantastic. Gentlemen, it was really nice having you in studio here. The forum ends tomorrow. The meeting ends tomorrow.
Yes.
All the best, and we hope for some more fruitful outcomes. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
There you have it. Namibia, if you are just tuning in, that was in studio with us, the chairperson of the Namibia Public Service Commission, as well as that is Mr. Salmaan Jacobs, as well as the South African Public Service Commission chairperson, that is Professor Somadoda Fikeni, here in studio, talking to us about the General Assembly meeting, which has convened here in the capital and will end, that is tomorrow. We appreciate you staying tuned. We have more coming up.